So as you're going through this transition, when life hits you in the face, when it's a very real temptation to rebel, why did God let this happen to me? I'm just going to go out and do this. And we think that tragedy and hardship is some kind of license to go out and do something reckless. Oh, I can't believe God let this happen to me. Yeah. That same script. When in fact, that is a time to keep believing in the promises of God obediently. And I want you to see it here in verse 14. So when the people set out, underscore that in your mind and in your text. So when the people set out, they didn't stay in their tents. Flood waters look dangerous. Let's just stay here. Let's just pray about it. No. They responded with obedience. So when the people set out from their tents to cross the Jordan, with the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant before the people, and when those who carried the Ark came into the Jordan, and the feet of the priest carrying the Ark were dipped in the edge of the water, for the Jordan overflows all its banks all the days of harvest. The waters which were flowing down from above stood and rose up in one heap, a great distance away at Adam, the city that is beside Zarethan. And those which were flowing down toward the sea of Arabah, the Salt Sea, what you and I would call the Dead Sea in the New Testament. The term Dead Sea isn't found in the Old Testament. They were completely cut off, those waters. So the people crossed opposite Jericho. And the priest who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan, while all Israel crossed on dry ground until all the nation had finished crossing the Jordan. You see what happened when the people responded obediently. This is what I need you to do. These are your instructions. And so the people set out. When they were obedient to the instructions that they were given, it's then they saw the faithfulness of God to His promises. That's oftentimes lost upon this Western culture in the life of the church, that when everybody wants to claim the promises of God, nobody wants to talk about the premises. There's a premise to every promise. And so the people were obedient to the instructions that they received. And when they were pursuant to obedience, now they saw the faithfulness of God to His promises. Have you noticed something in some of these Old Testament narratives, especially early on in Israel and the Hebrew history, them moving out of Egypt, wilderness wanderings, coming into the land of promise? I mean, you get all these varied kind of instructions. You get all these different accounts of how God has revealed Himself and manifested Himself to His people. I mean, remember when they left Egypt, they come up against the Red Sea, and God Himself parched the waters of the Red Sea, and the Hebrews crossed. But now, when it comes to the Jordan River, He's saying that I want the priests, once they put their foot into the water, then the waters will part. Why different? On one occasion, He would tell Moses to speak to the rock so that water might come forth. On another occasion, He tells Moses to strike the rock so that water might come forth. Why all the variety? Why all the different specific instructions? I think it's God saying, I need you to trust me and not techniques. I need you to trust me and not programs, not your traditions. Maybe God knew His people better than they knew Himself, so He never did anything twice in a row here because He didn't want it to become a tradition. Well, that's not the way we've done it before. So God just changed it up every time. And it's His way of saying, you need to trust me. And that's really what it's about. It's about who's in control. You gonna trust me? You're gonna trust yourself, your traditions, your programs, your way of doing things, what worked in the past.